Why'd you want to be a teacher? It's a question I got asked on at least a yearly basis by students. Some of them asked because they were testing the waters. They were curious about teaching as a career and wanted to see if their thoughts or ideals aligned with mine. Some students asked because they could not understand how a fully functioning adult could do this job on a day-to-day basis. My answer to the question usually depended on the students and the setting. I sometimes would tell the story of my stepfather, advising me to find what you love and figure out how to make money doing it. Occasionally, I would tell my students about my senior year of high school and how I struggled to decide a major. It took a long look in the mirror for me to realize that my biggest talents lay in theater, and teaching was a way more consistent way to earn an income over acting. But those are just supplementary stories. The real reason I chose to become an educator was because of my AP English teacher. Every day, my English teacher would come to school, teach class, and I would think, I can do better than that. Okay, so that was extremely arrogant and unfair of me. And looking back, the deck was really stacked against her. She was the only advanced placement English teacher in a really small school. It was her first year, and she had very little way in support or guidance. I look back at my first year of teaching and see myself making the exact same mistakes as her. I made half-baked lesson plans, I struggled to develop classroom management techniques, and I had plenty of uninspired projects and classroom activities. Yep, both of us eventually got better. Why? Professional development. In this episode of Critical Dramatics, I want to talk about the benefits and shortcomings of professional development, as well as what you can do in order to overcome the barriers keeping you from getting the training you deserve. For those of you out of the know, professional development, sometimes referred to as PD, is a term used to describe a wide umbrella of activities focused on improving one's skills in several different domains of their profession. PD can include going to convention, watching an expert speaker, or getting hands-on trainings at a clinic. A good professional development will leave you feeling powerful. Okay, I know that's a weird way to put it, but it's true. I left some PDs feeling like I had a pivotal role to play, like I had learned something new, some secret to teaching, or sometimes I would feel like I was just part of this community of people driven to make the world better. Those feelings, they have an empowering energy. Okay, so for those of you who have never experienced good PD before, it's kind of like going to church. Teaching is such a personal career, and it can take a lot of energy from you, especially emotionally, which can leave you feeling empty. I mean, teachers and myself even often felt stressed, alone, or like they're failing the people around them. But good PDs have this way of filling you back up. I mean, good training makes you feel like you have these new tools that are going to make your class a better place and you a better teacher. I mean, what's not to love about that? Yeah. For all of its intended benefits, teachers often have mixed feelings about professional development. First, PD it's often mandatory, and very few people enjoy being told what to do. Second, PDs have a stigma of being low quality in terms of presenters or production value. I mean, let's be honest, it takes a lot of skill and resources to create trainings for adults, let alone excellent ones. And not everyone has access to those resources or requirements. Okay? Thirdly, administrators pick and find PDs. That means they have to use their budget and their time to comb through and choose which PDs to host. And I'm not trying to knock anyone's principal. I had great principals, but even I, as a teacher, struggle to find good YouTube videos for my classes. I can only imagine what my principals went through on trying to find quality speakers for teachers. Lastly, and this one's more in my area of expertise, professional development is rarely designed with fine arts in mind. Okay, I cannot tell you how many amazing PDs I've been to that discussed rigor or grit or real-world problem solving with your students. I mean, these sessions were filled with charismatic presenters who had created amazing activities that got even the most jaded veteran teacher engaged and learning and excited. Unfortunately, most of these sessions had very little impact for me. In a world focused on standardized testing, skills other than assessment taking are really important to teach for students and teachers. But fine arts teachers, we don't give a lot of tests. Most of what these amazing presenters were preaching, I was already doing. Okay, just to broaden your scope a little bit, for those of you who may be new to the fine arts classroom or maybe don't work with fine arts and are just listening, glad you're here. At its core, every fine arts classroom is designed to train students to produce work that's going to be seen by their peers and their parents. Fine arts students, they're going to sing on stage. They're going to perform at halftime. They're going to create art that's going to be presented and judged in galleries and competitions. And with that in mind, every fine arts lesson is designed with this end goal outside of the classroom in mind that occasionally core teachers forget about when they are more focused on exams. So in order to get students prepared for this outside activities, fine arts teachers have to teach grit, teamwork, and real-world problem solving. So when a fine arts teacher finds themselves in yet again another PD not designed for them, they feel like they're wasting their time. They would much rather be coordinating travel plans, designing for the next production, or working with their students. Unfortunately, these feelings can lead towards a really negative outlook on PD for teachers, which creates a lack of enthusiasm or, let's be honest, outright feelings of resentment for any sort of mandatory training. Teachers start to feel jaded, misunderstood, and marginalized by their administrators. This leads to them looking for less and less opportunities to grow as professionals, and that directly impacts their programs and students' learnings. I mean, for those of you guys who've been in fine arts for a while, like me, you've probably witnessed some of these teachers, okay? And if things hadn't gone differently, I might have ended up just like them. Okay, so a little bit of honesty time. I really needed professional development. I mean, more than most teachers. So I went to a really small school. It only offered 2 fine arts credits in its entire course catalog, 1 theater class and 1 visual arts class. And when I went to college for theater, I probably had the least technical experience out of anyone in my freshman class. I did not touch a theatrical light until my sophomore year. And all teachers know that your first year of teaching is rough. But add on top of all the extra jobs you take on when you direct an after-school program, and you're left in this constant state of survival mode. I was tasked with training students to hang and focus lights, fix and mix sound systems, apply corrective and special effects makeup, and sew and mend costumes. And most of these skills had been taught to me once in a semester-long course in college. And now I was expected to teach kids how to do this. Quite frankly, my first year and a half as a teacher were pretty miserable, both emotionally and productively. And I know that I'm not alone. All fine arts classrooms have these huge spectrums of topics to teach in order to meet the requirements set by their state. And most of us are not masters of everything. I needed a lot of really niche professional development, and my district really struggled to provide that consistently. So, what did I do? And what can you do? Well, a lot of it came down to 3 things. First, I made a lot of connections with experts, especially those in areas I was weak at. Every chance I got, I would pick the brains of expert teachers and craftsmen. I invited directors to lunch, chatted with teachers at competitions, and I even took some tradesmen out for a cup of coffee just so I could pick their brains. So, huge advice to all new teachers or teachers struggling. Believe me when I say that master teachers love to teach. Find you an expert, okay? Because I have yet to meet a carpenter or a lighting technician who didn't love to talk my ear off about their newest project or personal tips for tech. They love teaching. It's why they're there. And I understand that it can be daunting to approach these people, but they're happy to talk to you and help you out because they were there once too. They know the struggle. The second thing I did, and what I would advise people to do, was find as much training on the internet as you can. Okay, you're going to be surprised by what's been documented on the internet and how easy it is to find with a little bit of digging. Okay, YouTube and Wikipedia are just treasure troves of information and training. And it is easier today than ever before to teach yourself new skills and to learn new information about the things that you need to teach your students. I mean, in fact, I'm teaching myself about podcasting for this project, and the number of videos available to me is almost scary. People are out there who want to help you. Okay. Now, the last thing I did, and this is something that I really urge you to try to do, is get in contact with your administrators, okay? The director of fine arts for my district was amazing, and I actually think of him as a mentor and a role model as a teacher, somebody who I really look up to and want to be like one day. And every year, he went to bat for each of the fine arts departments, music, choir, orchestra, theater. He wanted to get us the training that we wanted because he understood that we needed better and more content-specific professional development than what we were getting. I urge you, if you're struggling with PDs that do not fit your needs, you need to reach out to your administrators, okay? Oftentimes, they don't even know that you're floundering. They're so busy getting prepared with everything and moving on and testing and the whole scope of the school that your struggles, sometimes aren't on their radar. But if you bring it up, they're going to be happy to help you out because it's going to make their jobs easier. Better teachers make for a better school. My mission with this website and all of its content is to take the resources I've gathered over the last 5 years and share them with everyone. My focus in this blog will be specifically providing resources, training, and advice over technical theater and theater classroom technology. If you're an educator outside of these realms, please feel free to navigate around and cherry pick from the information I've provided. Okay, I am going to be talking about lighting and sound mixing and other design elements that I would love and think that kids would love to see in their core classes, okay? Many of the technologies and applications I plan to talk about are going to fit in perfectly in a math class or a history class, just as they would fit perfectly in a theater classroom. My goal is to provide interviews with experts and my own expertise on the topic. So far, I've planned to host experts on music and music mixing, theatrical lighting, teaching, and acting in a current digital world. No one should ever feel as lost as I did in my first year of teaching, and no one should ever have a student think they can do it better. Critical Dramatics aims to provide professional development of technology in the fine arts classroom and information over areas in technical theater. Music was composed and produced by Brandon Tanner. Thank you for listening.